Hello, good morning. Hello, hello, good morning. Feeling like I might sit on the couch today. Be crazy, wouldn't it? Hello, where is everybody? Is TikTok mad at me because I'm late today? Can't be. Hello. There are people here. Hello, good morning. Oh, that one's not very big. Here we go. Yes, sorry, Isaac. I did see your messages coming through. I was on a roll. Somebody told me that I don't have any highlights on my Instagram page. So I was on a roll recording stories to create highlights for my Instagram page. And so I'm late. My apologies. Here I am. Jason, you're here. Congratulations. I've been waiting to see you on my live. I was talking about you for a good 15 minutes on Friday after you told me you got the job, and then you never came on, and I haven't seen you since. So congratulations. I'm so happy for you. Are you still here? Did you go again? No, you're still here. Yes, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. And I'm so glad that you may be stressed out a little bit less with my advice. And there was no need to stress out for anything. You got the job. Tell me more. When do you start? June, I think you were saying? June? Or you have to start by June. Yes, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. So congratulations. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I got to say it to you while you were here. Oh my God, the dog is hot. Hello. Next month, amazing. It's going to be so good. I'm so pleased for you. So I just had an amazing phone call this morning. I thought it was going to be a chat with a friend, but it ended up being, the person that I had the call with, my friend, she does social media for a living. She's been helping me with my Instagram, and so I thought we were just going to be calling to have a quick chit chat, but she ended up giving me loads of tips about all the stuff I'm doing wrong on my Instagram. So that's why I'm late. I've been busy recording stories to create highlight reels. I'm going to be setting up a website. I'm going to have my own website, which is very exciting. I've had a domain name for ages, but I haven't had the opportunity to actually create the website. So I'm going to be doing that. And also, I'm going to be changing a little bit the way that I'm doing things. So at the moment, I'm going live almost every day. I usually do 5 days a week. Not always in the right order, but I always try and do at least for 5 or 6 times a week going live on TikTok here to answer y'all's questions. So I'm going to be changing that a little bit now that I've started my new role. Oh, now the other dog wants to come. Now that I've started my new role, I don't have as much time to be doing live coaching, unfortunately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my website set up. I'm still going to be going live 2 or 3 times a week, so don't worry, I'm not disappearing. But I'm going to have my website set up so that when you guys have questions, you're able to submit your question to me and you'll get back like a video response or a written response, however you prefer to receive it, so that you guys are still able to ask your coaching questions to me, still have access to me. And even though I'm not going to be doing as many lives. That said, of course, you always still can reach out to me in my community. I'm still there. It's still free. You still have the ability to DM me there. So make use of that. But I am going to be doing slightly less lives. I'm not going to be able to go live on Thursdays anymore because I will have to work on Thursdays. And then I'll figure out which other days I'll be doing here and which days you will have to hit me up on the old website. Thank you for the roses, Isaac. What's that saying? Congrats, Isaac. Lit up rose in Eleanor's gift gallery. Excellent. Thank you so much. So, guys, today, because I just got fresh off creating a bunch of content around emotional intelligence, how it can help you and how it ties in with intuition, you guys feel free, as always, to pop your questions in the chat. And in the meantime, I want to talk a little bit about, we've been talking a lot recently about emotional intelligence. I think probably for the past 2 weeks, I've spoken about nothing else other than emotional intelligence. Jason, that is not the kind of question that I meant, but it's Tuesday, and I always say I will answer personal questions on Tuesdays. Apparently that means I will also answer really weird and random questions. Why do they say A up duck? Great question. So A up duck is excellent idea. I actually will, because I'm so hot. A up duck is a northern phrase said particularly in Sheffield, but generally speaking in the north of England. And why do they say it? A up duck. It means like how you doing. So duck is a very common like greeting, a common way to call each other. So you either call each other like duck or love or ducky. So duck is just like an affectionate term that we call each other in the north of England. A up duck is like what's up, like what's up, a up, what's up duck. I've really never thought about it before, so I'm kind of making this up as I go along. But yeah, so I think it's just like the northern way of saying what's up, dude. Dude. I sound so northern when I say dude. What's up, dude? Yeah. So they say it as a way of just saying like, how are you? What's up? What's happening? What you doing? You're going to put your head there, right where I want to put my arm, Cherry? Thanks. That's where my arm goes. I'm going to pop it on your head. Great. Yeah. So that's why. Any other coaching questions or random questions? It's Tuesday. Let's do it. We can do random questions today. Pop them in the chat. Otherwise, let's talk about how intuition and emotional intelligence work together. Because I'm an emotional intelligence and intuitive coach. So I teach these two skills. And I believe these two skills are the most fundamental skills to build in order to live your best life, to live your dream life. So the emotional intelligence side, as you know, if you've been here any time over the past 2 weeks, we've been talking about it. Emotional intelligence allows you to control your emotions and therefore control your reality. Emotional intelligence helps you to manifest, for example, because when you gain control over your emotions, when you choose your reactions to situations, you can stay in a positive state. You can stay in a positive emotional state, right? So when you're in a positive emotional state, you are vibrating at high frequencies. And as you know, with manifestation, if you want to manifest something cool and exciting and positive into your life, you need to be vibrating on a positive emotional state in order to like attracts like, right? This is like the law of attraction and manifestation. So you need to be vibrating on a high positive level in order to attract high level things, positive things into your experience. Your emotional intelligence helps you do that because you choose your reactions. So whenever something happens in your experience that otherwise you would react negatively to, that otherwise you would react with fear or anxiety or anger or bitterness, betrayal, guilt, whatever it is, you can notice what you're doing, bring awareness to that reaction, and choose your own reaction. Okay, this situation normally would make me angry, but this time I'm going to choose to see it from the other person's perspective, to see how they are just caring about me, and to choose love, right? And that's how emotional intelligence helps you create your reality, manifest things into your reality, and stay positive. Now, how that works with following your intuition is that when you follow your intuition is always pushing you towards your purpose. It's always pushing you outside of your comfort zone. It's always pushing you to do things that just make you a little bit uncomfortable in order to grow and expand, right? And if you didn't have emotional intelligence, firstly, you probably wouldn't hear your intuition because you would be too busy distracting yourself trying to ward away the negative emotions. But secondly, you might not have the confidence to go through with what your intuition is asking you to do, because often the things that your intuition is asking you to do make you afraid. Like moving out of your comfort zone can be scary. And if you don't have emotional intelligence, that fear may override and you may not do what your intuition wants you to do. Whereas if you follow your intuition and you have emotional intelligence, you get to choose your reaction and you get to say, I'm not afraid of this new thing. I'm excited to try this new thing, because you get to choose your reactions, right? So that's how these two things work together. Jason, sometimes when something bad happens, you have a bad reaction automatically. Yes, Jason, this is friendship. Why doesn't it give me a necklace? But thank you. So when something bad happens, it's often, not sometimes, most of the time, you have a negative reaction or a bad reaction, right? And this is very common because this is how our brain works. So when an experience happens, our brain seeks to make sense of it. Okay, so when a new experience happens, something that's never happened before, or something's happening in a different way than it never has before, something new in your reality, your brain wants to make sense of it. So it grabs all the information that it has, collected through your five senses, through listening to what other people have told you, through seeing what has happened to other people on TV when they've been in that circumstance. And your brain will take, this is why your brain's like a supercomputer. Your brain will take all of that information that it's collected from its five senses, and it will mesh it together to say, okay, now we understand what is happening, and the likely outcome of this thing is this, right? And your brain is going to, in a bad situation, your brain is going to show you something bad, right? Your brain is going to show you, okay, so my car broke down, what's going to happen? People are going to get mad at me, somebody's going to come smash into the back of me, I'm going to get in trouble with the police. Like, your brain's going to go looking for all the things that could possibly go wrong, right? Because you're already reacting badly. Your brain's like, okay, all of this stuff could happen. Remember, your brain's job is to keep you safe. Your brain's job is to keep you safe. So it's going to go looking for all the potential danger in the situation that you're in. So when something bad happens, your brain can make it worse, right? Because your brain wants to keep you safe. So your brain's going to go looking for all of the information that it has about all of the bad things that could happen and try and protect you, bring your awareness to those bad things to try and protect you from letting those bad things happen to you again. So that's why we perpetuate bad situations in our mind. Whereas with emotional intelligence, you can take a step back and say, okay, just because my car broke down doesn't mean any of these other follow-on things are going to happen. I can make a phone call, I can wait here, put my hazard lights on and wait for somebody to come get me, move me off the road without anything bad happening, just because it happened to somebody else, just because it happened on TV, just because it happened in a movie, right? Stop. Try coaching the whole live in an American accent. No, I can't. I'm really bad with the American accent. I can't do it consistently because it turns into like a Birmingham accent or something. Like, I somehow turn it into some other kind of accent. Hello, Madeiro. Welcome back. I literally hate my country. If it weren't for the miscegenation, I would be standard Portuguese. Right, so Madeiro, you're in Brazil, right? I'm assuming by your name. I know we've spoke before, but I can't remember if you told me where you're from. So, you hate your country, Brazil, right? If it weren't for the miscegenation, I would be standard Portuguese. I'm not quite sure what you mean. Do you mean like when the Portuguese came and took over Brazil, and so if it weren't for that, you would be Portuguese instead of Brazilian? Is that what you're saying? I'm sorry, I know English isn't your first language, so I'm sorry if I'm making this hard for you. Put yourself out of your comfort zone. Yes, Jason. Yes. You're like my wingman on here now. Oh my gosh. Oscar. I'm missing so many lives because I'm sleeping a lot. Yeah, I sent my live to you yesterday. I haven't seen you for a little while. I was missing you, Oscar. I'm aware that people have lives outside of my TikTok lives, so I don't take it personally, but I do miss you guys when you don't come on. I do think about you and miss you. Race mix. So you are go when I tell you I'm sleeping like a corpse. I slept until 9 a.m. this morning. That never happens. On Saturday night, we went out and got really drunk, and the kids were up until like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, which is really late for them. And so I would sleep in the next day, and it was Mother's Day the next day, so I would sleep in. I woke up at like 4:30, and I couldn't get back to sleep. But this morning, when I was supposed to be up early to go do stuff, I slept till 9, but it was lovely. Sorry, Madeira, sidetrack. So you are mixed race. So you are mixed race living in Brazil, and you hate that. Okay, I'm asking details because I want to I want to understand the question, but also I can talk a little bit about it from what you've said. Oscar, put your alarm clock on. You are missing the entire day. 1 or 2 o'clock. My gosh. So firstly, you're holding on to hatred, right? You're holding on to hatred of your country, of not being Portuguese, of mixed race, whatever it is. You're holding on to some hatred, okay? And this is not helpful for you. Holding on to hatred can cause stress, anxiety, depression, and chronic illness, okay? So what we need to do, you're 70% Portuguese, okay. But what we need to do is we need to let go of the hatred, because it's not helping you. It's holding you back. It's limiting you in your life, holding on to this hatred. So whatever the hatred is about, wherever it comes from, the mixed race, the country, whatever it is, my advice to you is to try and let that go. Try and let the hatred go, because all it's doing is holding you back. It's not of any benefit to you. It's not of any benefit to the people around you that have to see you full of hate. It's not of any benefit to your family. It's not of any benefit to your future. It's only holding you back, okay? When people hold on to hatred, when people hold on to a grudge, when people hold on to feelings of guilt or betrayal instead of forgiveness, all they're doing is holding themselves back and making their own lives a little bit worse for no end, okay? So I'm sorry to really try and hammer that in, but there is no point holding on to hatred. Oscar, this goes for you and Summer too. Listen, there's no point holding on to hatred, okay? So that's why I always advise, in the situation where there's something in your life that you hate, where there's something in your life that you don't like, Oscar, Summer, right? Let it go. Let it go. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, is to find something that you can, some small, tiny thing about the situation that you can appreciate, that you can enjoy, that you can like, that you can have gratitude for, and focus your attention on that one thing, or focus your attention on away from hating. Yes, Oscar, I'm gonna talk. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna talk about that a little bit, because actually that ties in really, really well. Let's talk about it now, because it does tie in really, really well. So Oscar has just made a point about what's happening in the south of Brazil at the moment. Rio Grande do Sul is suffering extreme flooding, multiple deaths, multiple missing people, hundreds of cities completely washed out, completely underwater, okay? It's a natural disaster, a huge disaster happening in Rio Grande do Sul. And there are rescue efforts going on to try and rescue the people. There's donations are being taken all over the country. It's a disaster, right? Okay, in the US you have hurricanes that do the same thing across the so close to 100. Thank you so much, Isaac. All across the world, different countries suffer different types of natural disaster, right? At the moment in Brazil, Rio Grande do Sul, it's flooding. So this ties in really well to what Madero was saying about hating his country, and what I was saying about finding something you can be grateful for in a terrible situation, or a situation that you hate, in order to let go of the hatred, right? So I actually talked a little bit about this on my live stream collaboration on Instagram last week with Lauren. When there's something, a disaster happening in the world, right, and you feel really badly about it, we can't stop the disaster, okay? We can't stop it from happening. But what we can do is we can divert our attention away from it. There's two things that we can do, okay? So one thing is we can divert our attention away from it. So, for example, my husband, he's stopped now, but last week he was watching a lot of videos about what was going on in Rio Grande do Sul. Really traumatizing videos of like babies floating dead in the water, and like really traumatizing. He was up until 3:00 at night. He couldn't sleep because he was watching all of these videos, and he was really invested, feeling really terrible for these people, right? But what good did it do him sitting there at night watching videos about it? He couldn't sleep. He was really grumpy the whole of the next day because he hadn't slept, right? He was really tired. And did it help the people? No, it didn't help the people at all, right? So he screwed up his day. He made himself really, really sad because he was investing his energy into this really sad natural disaster, not to any benefit to anybody, simply to his own detriment, right? So the first thing is divert your attention away, right? I won't watch videos. If videos come up, like traumatic videos come up on my feed, I scroll past them. Now, what I was talking about with Lauren on my live last week is some part of me feels guilty for doing that. Some part of me feels heartless for doing that, right? Why am I not watching these videos about these poor people? Okay, am I heartless? Don't I care? And that's what we were talking about in the live. You can see it's on my Instagram. If you go to my Instagram, the live is still there. It's on my reels, so you can see what we were talking about. But the upshot is, no, I'm not heartless. I'm not cold. I'm not devoid of emotion. I'm protecting my positivity. I'm protecting my own mental health. I'm protecting my own peace of mind. I'm protecting my own time. And the second thing that you can do is contribute positively towards the situation, right? So I don't need to watch videos of people in traumatic situations. That's not helping anyone. It's only to my detriment. However, what I can do is go donate. I can donate food, I can donate clothes, I can make a positive contribution to this situation without dragging myself down the well of despair that comes about from watching footage of it, right? The footage is there, it's shocking, and it's designed to get our attention, right? But it can do that in a positive way. It can get our attention, right? There's something awful going on here. They need our help. Go help. Go be in a good mood and help. Send donations, send old clothes, send money, send food, whatever it is, help the situation, right? So Maduro, I'm going to come back to you on this. So you were talking about hating Brazil, and I was saying, so the first thing is divert your attention away from the hatred. Divert your attention away from the hatred. Whenever you see something that triggers you, whenever you hear the government talking about something that annoys you, or your car goes into a pothole and you're reminded how shit the roads are here, whenever something happens that makes you think, I hate my country, divert your attention away, right? Don't get caught up in those thoughts. Just start thinking about something else, okay? And then try and have a positive effect on your country. What do you hate so much about this place? And can you make it better? Can you bring something positive to this situation? Can you bring a new idea, a new way of doing things? Can you start a revolution? Can you improve your country? And it may be something tiny, maybe something really, really small, but it may also be something really, really powerful. And that way you're using your hatred for good, which is kind of like what's happening Rio Grande do Sul, right? You see those videos and you hate what's going on, but instead of just getting sucked into watching a bunch more videos, use that hatred for good and go use that energy that you've gotten from hating the video to go around your house collecting clothes you don't need anymore. Oscar, did you know there's 7 more countries flooding? No, I didn't, Oscar. So I sometimes like to think I can tell what's going to happen in the future. My husband laughs at me, but I honestly believe I do. And for a long time, I have been saying that the earth is trying to shake people off. This is terminology that came to me through my intuition, through meditation, whatever, I can't remember. It's not a phrase that I heard somebody else saying. Basically, it's a phrase that came to my mind. The earth is shaking people off. And hey, hello. Thank you, Isaac. And so when I hear about these natural disasters, there were a lot of them happening around the eclipse. There were the earthquakes in the US, in tsunamis in Japan, and ever since then, well, I mean always, but ever since then there has been a lot of natural disasters. And I don't want to get too spiritual on this channel. Like I'm heaps into spirituality, and I'm aware that I go off the deep end sometimes, and I want to keep this kind of more like scientific, emotional intelligence, intuition. You know, we're like science veering into woo-woo. But from a woo-woo perspective, what's happening is as more and more people awaken to their own power, as more and more people realize that they're able to control their reality, that they're able to manifest, that they're able to use the law of attraction, more and more people work on their emotional intelligence and aim to embody high vibrating emotions. The earth vibrates at a certain frequency, and as more and more people start vibrating at higher frequencies, the vibration of the earth changes. Right? So this is what we talk about, the great spiritual awakening that's happening at the moment. This is what we're talking about, the earth splitting into different timelines, and the earth is literally vibrating at a higher frequency, and the people that don't buy into it, the people that aren't on board with it, the people that live in anger, fear, depression, the people that live in those lower vibrating emotions are getting shaken off the earth. Like, it's kind of morbid, to be honest. But that's my belief. That's my belief. And call me crazy, whatever. I watch too much TikTok probably. But that's what I think is happening. And so we're seeing more of these natural disasters, and more people are coming to untimely ends or having near-death experiences. There are more and more people having near-death experiences. And if very staunchly Catholic people, for example, that just believe heaven, hell, do what the Bible says, right? They just believe that. They follow it to the letter. And they will not entertain that God is within, that we control our own reality, etc., etc. Those people, some of them, are having near-death experiences in which they see what happens to them after death, and they're coming back to Earth and relaying those stories and being like, their whole lives have changed, right? Like, oh my God, okay, I don't need to follow the Bible letter by letter, because the remnants of what we know of the Bible is not the word of God. It's the word of the men who wrote the Bible and controlled what was going into it. And in fact, now what we need to do is we need to help other people realize that they can control their own reality, that they can follow their intuition, that they can live a purposeful and important life rather than what they had been doing. So I talk about this, the earth kind of shaking people off. And what I mean is that people are being forced to awaken or suffering an untimely end. Okay, that's enough. 100 roses. Thank you so much, Isaac. I appreciate you. Brenda's here. Hi, Brenda. Oh my gosh, I miss you so much, Brenda. I love watching your content. Hang on, guys. I'm just scrolling back to see what I missed when I was on my little rantaroony just then. Jason, that's why it's best to let go of a grudge, right? Exactly, Jason. That is why it's best to let go of a grudge. Because what is the point in holding a grudge? What is the point? The other person may or may not know that you're holding a grudge, right? The other person might not know. And so you're not getting back at them. You're just getting back at yourself. Even if the other person does know that you're holding a grudge, like, what difference does it make to their lives? Like, and what? Like, when you're holding on to a grudge, you're literally just holding on to negative emotions that are dragging you down, that are potentially dragging down the people that have to deal with you, right? Like your partner, your friends, the people that you complain about the grudge to. You're dragging them down too. And it's to nobody's benefit. Hey dear, yes, of course you can ask me something. That is what I'm here for. What else did I miss here? What happened in the south isn't natural. I was saying natural disaster because of the rain element, but yeah, the dam burst as well, right? Which is not so natural. But we're gonna see a lot more of this, because if you think about it, right, the Industrial Revolution, all of our infrastructure happened around or slightly after the Industrial Revolution. So all of our roads, all of our bridges, all of our dams across the whole world were kind of built around the same time, right? Like around the kind of 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. That's when most of our infrastructure was put into place. That stuff, that infrastructure is now 50, 60, 70 years old. And so we're going to start seeing, so I used to work when I worked in finance, I worked in the global listed infrastructure team and the global listed real estate team. So I learned a lot about this, about global infrastructure, and about how it's a booming industry because there needs to be so much money spent on infrastructure because it was all built around the same time, and now it's all crumbling. And particularly in the US, like, you'll have bridges that are just about to collapse everywhere. And so we're going to be seeing a lot more of these like semi-natural disasters when the weather interacts with crumbling infrastructure, and we suffer huge problems. God, I'm ranting again, sorry. It's like when I held a grudge with my roommate after she got mad at me about the noise. Yeah, right, about the door handle. All I was doing is letting it go around my head, right? And she was fine. Your roommate was fine. I mean, she was annoyed about the noise, but she was annoyed about the noise anyway. She didn't care that you were annoyed about her, but you were annoyed at her about being annoyed at the noise, right? We should get used to it, TBH. Terrible things are bound to happen. Okay, Oscar, that is like way, way depressing. But also it is exactly what I was saying. I feel like I just kind of said it in a slightly less morbid way. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I just said it while I was smiling and I thought it made it positive. But yeah, stuff happens. Stuff happens in life. And ultimately, it is all for our highest and best good. But it cannot feel like that at the time. It can feel horrific at the time. So, for example, with what's happening in Rio Grande do Sul, when I lived in Australia, like 3 years before I left, we had terrible bushfires. You may have heard about them. The bushfires overtook the whole of Australia. Billions of animals were dying every hour. It was insane. You couldn't go outside. All of the air was covered in black smoke everywhere. Australia is huge. Australia is like the size of Europe. Not all of Europe, but like most of Europe, right? Australia is huge, and it was covered in fire everywhere. And I was really letting that affect me because I could hear the wind, right? The problem was the fire and the wind. There was really strong winds blowing the fire everywhere. And I could hear the wind for months. This happened for the whole summer. Every night I'd go to bed and it would just be the wind, and it didn't help. I had 2 trees right over my house, so the wind would constantly be bashing the trees onto my house, and I couldn't sleep, and I was just traumatized with images of burnt animals burnt to a crisp, because it was all over the news, right? And I really let it affect me. I was pregnant at the time, so I was probably susceptible to being more emotional, but I couldn't get it out of my head the whole summer. It was probably my worst summer in Australia. I was pregnant, I couldn't do anything, it was hella hot, we couldn't go outside because of the smoke, and just this images in my head of burning animals, right? So I went through that, right? And I'm grateful that I went through that, because now when there is a disaster happening, I know that sitting with the images in my head, allowing myself not to sleep, allowing myself to be really anxious and stressed out about it all the time isn't going to help. It's not going to do anything. It's going to make my life terrible. It's going to make my husband's life terrible, because I'm going to be tired and grumpy all the time, and it's not going to be of any benefit to the situation. So I'm grateful that I went through that, because now I know either to divert my attention away and choose a reality in which this is not happening, or I can have a positive contribution towards what is happening by maintaining my calm and not getting sucked into the drama, but choosing my emotions and having a positive effect. So yes, Oscar, terrible things are bound to happen, and we can choose our reaction to those things, and we can choose how we contribute to those things, whether we allow ourselves to ruin our own lives over it, or whether we make a positive contribution to the situation, or whether we don't make any contribution at all. We can choose by improving our emotional intelligence. Hey dear. Sorry. What have to do if we still have feelings for someone and we're still friends, but still see him from time to time, making feeling back that really hurts? Okie dokie. So you still have feelings for somebody. Hang on, were you? And we're still friends. Okay. So I don't know if you were ever together, but you still have the feelings, and presumably they don't want anything more than friendship. So it's the same kind of thing. I don't want to sound like I just say the same thing all the time, but it honestly is the same answer to all of the questions. So firstly, it's about choosing your reaction and choosing where you put your energy. So if it hurts you to hang out with this person that doesn't want more, spend less time with them. Spend less time with them. If it's hurting you to be with them, spend less time with them. Okay? Choose where you're putting your energy. Choose where you're putting your focus and your attention. If you're putting your focus and attention into something that's hurting you, stop doing that. Now, this may sound oversimplistic, but it's also true. You can choose where you put your time and energy. Now, if the person is living with you for some reason, or you have to work with them or go to school with them, it can be more difficult to divert your attention away from them. And in this situation, I would say to try and find something in the situation that you can appreciate, right? So it might be worth looking into whatever the reason is that you want to take things further and this other person doesn't, right? So maybe having a look into why that is. What is that saying about yourself? Where can you improve yourself so that this doesn't happen again? Or where can you improve yourself so that this person changes their mind, right? What is it about about yourself that you're able to control and to change, to choose your reaction that could improve the situation, right? So it's kind of like what I was saying. You can either choose to divert your attention away, or you can choose to have a positive contribution to the situation. And that positive contribution might change your current situation, maybe, or it might just put you in a better place so that next time you meet somebody you have feelings for, the same thing doesn't happen again. Because you will often see that, especially with relationships, especially with people. Relationships will fail over and over again for the same reason, and it's something that you're doing, right? You are the common denominator in your relationships. And it can be hard to see and it can be hard to accept, but it is there. Pepper Cup is back. Yes, she is. I was a tiny more forward, just like Hawaii. And the coral reef there is dying too. It's like the most important. Yeah, not just in Hawaii, in Australia as well. Like the Great Barrier Reef used to be beautiful and now it's just grey. This is why, Oscar, the world is shaking people off. Because we've fucked it. We have fucked it. So the earth is shaking people off. So we are players we are from different countries, so every time we see each other. Okay. So you meet each other like at matches. I have to end the live very soon, by the way. I should have finished it 5 minutes ago. So apologies, I can't take any more questions, but we will finish talking about this one. Okay, so you see each other whenever you have matches together. I loved watching Peppa Pig growing up. Yeah, it's really cool. Like Hawaii, I meant the wildfire. Oh, right, yeah, okay. Yeah, so Hadir, it's like a long distance love. How romantic, how heartbreaking. You're invested into this, right? And you potentially probably don't have control in that case over when you see them, right? It's going to be not by chance, but it's going to be by a situation that you don't control, right? It's whether you win the match, lose the match, he wins, whatever. But you are invested at the moment. You are invested into this romance. This is like a dramatic romance, okay? But it's still the same answer. So being that you're from different countries, you can choose to divert your attention away, particularly when you're not seeing him, like when you're not playing against him, right? You can just not think about him all of the rest of the time when he's not in your space. And I know I say that like it's really easy, but I'm also aware that it's not really easy. Like, it's going to be painful. You're going to have to catch yourself and bring awareness to it over and over and over again. You're going to have to let go of your feelings for the person in order to divert your attention away. I know it's not easy. I'm not trying to make it sound like it's going to be. There is a book called Letting Go by David Hawkins that I highly recommend for helping you to let go of those feelings, right? It's a really great book. It will help you across the whole of your life. Everybody listening should read this book. It's amazing. It forms the basis of a lot of what I talk about, letting go of situations and feelings that are no longer serving you. And when you decide to let go, Hadir, it could be very frightening for you. It could be scary, right? Let those feelings come up and feel them, right? Like, it's potentially going to be like a breakup anyway, even though you're not together, right? Because there's probably some part of you that's holding on to hope that things change, and you're letting go of that hope, and it can be scary. Feel those feelings, allow them to come up. And then the other side is looking into yourself so that this situation doesn't happen again. I don't know if you ever were together. I don't know what the reason is that, he's not into you. I don't know if you know what the reason is, but just try and take an honest look at the situation and see if there is anything about the situation that is speaking to you, anything about the situation that could help you further in life. And you have to be really open to looking at the honest truth and not your opinion of the honest truth, because you're looking for things wrong with yourself, which is not easy to do. Do you ever see someone just take your heart when she just looks at you? Yes. Yes. Oh, it's actually really funny that you said that because yeah, my husband and I were talking about this the other day. Anyway, there's a backstory to that which I don't have time to go into. Hadir, I'm sorry, I do have to finish now because I have to help my kids get lunch and get them to school. Come back tomorrow. I'm on same time every day. Also, join my community. The link is in my bio. You can keep talking to me there. And yeah, like I wish you all the best with this. I'm sorry I didn't get to wrap it up completely. I usually finish about 10 minutes ago. Great to see you, everybody. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all. I will see you tomorrow.